This will be the last in-house. All right, so like I was saying, we've been on the journey of mastering Power BI visuals, right? And I said these visuals there are different models that are used for analyzing data or drawing insights from a given data set. So can anybody remind us the visuals we have? Though we have considered some of the major visuals already, but we still have few of them to complete before we round up the class. Yes, I'm covering that today, sir. Covering that. I'm looking at map and slicer today. So on Thursday, I still have a few things I want to finalize. Okay, so let's start with Power BI map. That's Power BI map visual. Power BI map visual. Are you writing? Power BI map visual. So let's look at the definition. The map visual in Power BI, the map visual in Power BI, the map visual in Power BI is a powerful tool for visualizing geographic data. It's a powerful tool for visualizing geographic data. So let's quickly discuss some of the features, what is made up as an attribute or as attributes. Power BI map key feature. Number one, geographic visualization. That is, it has the ability to visualize your data based on the geographical location. I said geographic what? Visualization, just to explain a bit. Maps display data points on a geographical map display data points on a geographic map, comma, enabling users to analyze location-based insights. Enabling users to analyze location-based insights. So let's quickly look at the implementation of this visual. Now, after this, we are going to talk about slicer. That's another visual. But I just want us to know that we can actually augment slicer with map. Because the work of map is to help us to regulate our reports. That is, to be able to use different models, which are the reports, to display what? Different value in a dashboard. That is the work of slicer. And which means that we use slicer to filter, right, across our dashboard report. So that same thing, you can decide to use map in the place of slicer. But there is a criteria that must be met. The criteria is that, if you look at that definition, is mainly used or only used for geographical words analysis, which means that your data set must carry some headers before you can use this. For example, your data set must carry a geographical word data. Like, I think I have states in this salary payroll, right? Good. So that is the best qualified header for this kind of analysis or for implementing map as a visual. So which means that it's not all data sets you can actually analyze with what? The map visual. So there is need for you to assess your data and know whether there is any header that segments your data according to what certain what region. In this case, we are focusing on what states. So what will be the practical step? Now, most time, let me remove this visual and replace it with the map because I need space for it. So how do we go about it? You start by activating the map visual itself. There are two types of maps here. We have the map, and then we have what? The field map. They are both map, but probably the presentation will be different. One, we have a kind of background color. That is what's called what? Field. So it's your choice. You can decide to visualize your report with map or field map. So any of them, you must start by what? Activating the visual, like this. So let me thought I created space. Okay, so let me just put it here. So that is your first step. Hope you have written that step. So the next step, your first step is to activate the map visual, which I've done now. So the next step is for me to set up the map, because there's something I want us to observe here so that you know the reason why it is necessary for us to do the setup. Look up, if I want to use the map to analyze, let's say I want to summarize, but most time when you are using the map, please always make sure that the values the data you are giving to the map should be values that relate to what? Some of the existing what? Reports, please. For example, now here, you summarize basic salary, that's the counting of them, right? Sorry, you did a counting of department, counting of employee based on what? Each department. That's what you did here. Now, I could use my map to amplify this. In other words, to explain this better. So which means that I will work with data that are common in this what? Visual. So on my map, I can say department, I'll drag department inside. And then I will also drag what? Or activate basic salary. So which means, like I said, that it can be used as a slicer. The reason why my own is displaying the value because I have already set up the map. If you try this now, your own now, you won't get your value. It will tell you details cannot be found because you ought to set up what? The map. There are certain features that you need to turn on before it can visualize what? Data. I have taught the other sets and I have already set it. That's the reason why. So maybe once I'm done now, you try it first with tasks so that you can see that information I'm talking about. Okay, well, let's just go through the proper way I've given you the notes. I said activate what? The visual. After that, the next step, set up the map by observing the following steps. So this will not be top steps under that setting up what? A map. Now, what are the steps? How do we set up the map? Go to File. Make sure you are writing your step. Go to File. Select Options and Settings. Select Options and Settings. And that will give you these two options. So you now click on options and wait for a dialog box to be prompted. So from here, you now select security. So from security, you should be able to see this unchecked. This is how you meet it in your own case. To not be checked. So this is what I checked that makes that visual to display data. So all you need just to check this. So depending on the scenario, sometimes when you check this, if it doesn't work, then it means that it needs the what? The support of what? The ArcGIS. So, but what matters most is just this one. So once we have done that, you click on what? Okay. So it's either you set up this before you involve the map visual, or you create the map visual and then do the setup before you start adding your data. So once we have done that, your next step, let's finalize the step before you can go through it by yourself. So once we have done that setting, the next step is to add data to the map visual. That's your next step. Add data to the map visual. Based on the analysis criteria and the qualified header. In this case now, e.g., we are using states. So in this particular data, based on the analysis criteria or based on the analysis of criteria or the header. And I said, in this case, we are using what? States. Because states break down this employee into what? Different what? Geographical what? Location. Some of the employees are in Delta State. Some are in what? In Edo. Some are in Lagos. So that means that what? That qualifies what? That header is the best, or is there any other header we can even use here? That is the only header that is even qualified to be used in this data set now. It's the only state you can use. So you click on it. Now you select only that header, which is what? State. So you are not involving, please, you are not involving basic salary, because it's acting as a slicer, which will be used to what? To slice across other what? Reports. So which means that as it stands now, I don't know if I have to do this so that we can have, I want to, are you seeing it very well? I want to increase it. So now, so this has automatically captured all the states in what? Nigeria. So how do you know this is Abuja? You will agree with me that in these two reports, there are records from what? Abuja, right? So if I click on Abuja now, you can see that what? It has sliced. So this is the counting of what? Abuja. That what? Abuja has only what? One employee working under what? Or in audit. The same thing. And we have what? Total of what? 4 employees. And this has also what? Replicated. So even if you have like 1 million reports here, if you slice with the map, it will apply to what? All the reports. That's why I said we can actually augment slicer with it. So this is a form of another what? Slicer. But there are still some things you need to know. I told us that every visual has what? Formatting features.
for modifying it. So while you are on it, select the format feature. You will see map setting. So from here, there could be some important things that might make sense. You can see that what, as I click here now, you notice on what changes as the background, styling. So I can change it to what, maybe any of these. So I think you should use a background that actualizes what the values, that makes you to see the values better. Then the control will have the zoom button, which is not active. So I will just what click. So you have what the zoom in and what zoom out. So for any reason you want to focus in a particular region, so that you can pick, or so that you can see the state or the parameters within that region. So you can see that maybe within this Abuja, that's where we have what? Okay, this is this should be a kind of maybe an area within what? Nasarawa. So let's say I want to view record from that particular region. You can see that what? This is Nasarawa what? Record. So a more structured data will make more sense with what? With this. Depending on the data you are working with. So from the format, you can see a lot of the lasso what? Button. If there's any way, like this button here. Let's see how we can use it. So you can just click it and then highlight that particular area. So you can see what happened now. So it's capture record from the area you selected. You know, you can have like 2-3 states within a region. And then you use the lasso tool to what? Okay, maybe I want to highlight what is in this section. I don't know if you are getting the function of that lasso tool. Maybe you want to highlight what is within this. This is Kaduna and what? And Kano. And that will give you what? The analysis. So you can also check for field color. You can change the color to different color. So all these are formatting features. Then to format the model itself, you can go to what? Of course, under what? General. Those ones focus on what? The model itself. Maybe the property, the background, the effects. You want to do that. That's the background color of the whole of the model. So based on what we have done so far, you can play around them. Make sure you touch them and see what they represent. And then anyone that is not applicable, when you click, you will not see its transformation on your visual. So let me give us 10 minutes to activate map on any of our current or existing dashboard, and then play around it, code the formatting and all those features. Make sure you play around them for the next 10 minutes. So when we come back, like I said, Mr. Kevin will now present.
I said Power BI was slicer. Power BI slicer. A slicer in Power BI is a filter control. A slicer in Power BI is a filter control that allows users to select specific data values. That allows users to select specific data values or range to select specific data values or range to display in a report. To display in a report. So from the word filter, we already know the major role of what? A slicer. That is, helps us to select certain record based on what? The specific what? Condition. Let's look at some of the key features of Power BI slicer. Some of the things we aspire to have in it. One is filtering. So you should be able to filter. Just to explain under this feature, slicers enable users to filter data in a report based on a specific criteria. Slicers enable users to filter data in a report based on a specific criteria. Based on a specific criteria. Then 2, interactive. Slicers are interactive. And I've explained what we mean by what? Interactivity, right? That is what they are connected. That's why once you pick a particular criteria, it interacts on the reports you have in your dashboard. Slicers are what? Interactive, comma, allowing users to select values. Allowing users to select values. And see the impacts on the reports in a real time. And see the impacts on the reports in a real time. In a real time. Yes, and see the impacts on the reports in a real time. So another key feature of Slicer is customization. Customization. Slicers can be customized with various settings, such as layout, design, and behavior. Slicers can be customized with various settings, such as layout, design, and behavior.
Such as layout.
Design and behavior. Are you with me? Now, let's look at the application now. The application. Let's look at the application. So it then means that from all that we have said about it, you need to have some reports before you can what? Involve the slicer. So the slicer is going to filter on what? On the existing what? Report. So we have report now. Now, don't forget that one of the key reasons why we implement or use slicer is because we want to avoid repetition of creating models. Because ordinarily, one of the reports, this slicer we present with this model will have been a report that you need to create from scratch. But the slicer will now enable you to use one model to what? To visualize what? Multiple what? Findings. So it reduces the number of what? A model you create. So to apply it, you click on the visual itself, which is this tile slicer. So once you click on it, your next step is to specify the filtering criteria header. Hope you are writing. Specify the filtering criteria heading. So once you have activated the visual, you need to ask yourself the data that will be used by the slicer. So we need to also populate it with what? Data. And the data you are giving should be the criteria for what? The data filtering or the selection. So I should have assumed some questions that I can be asked. And that will have prompted me to what? To know the data to be added to my slicer. So I believe with this, we have departments, we have summary of what? Basic salary per what? Departments. Are you with me? We have summary of basic salary against what? Departments. So now it will be wise for you to know that, okay, this is already giving me the breakdown of the total basic salary from each of these departments. So I don't need slicer to give me that information. So I will now want this to be broken down by what? Gender. So which means that everything that is presented here comprises of what? Both male and what? Female employees in each of these what? Departments.
So I want to bring this slicer so that I can use the same model to present only for what? Male and also for what? Female. So you need to be able to factor out what exactly you want to achieve with what? The slicer. You don't just populate it with data anyhow. So whichever data you are putting in should be a data that is able to answer your suggested what? Questions. So I'm bringing what? Gender here. So I'll click here and activate what? Gender. So you can see that it automatically go through the data and discover that what you have just two unique under what? This particular what? Header. Now, if I click on female, look at what we have. It will analyze only what? Female across all the reports. So that is why I said, imagine you have card. That would have been very beautiful. This will also be affecting what? All the card before the what? The main report. So if you are using this, it's the communication that matters. So that day, if you are using this, you have to be able to be telling us the way I'm saying it now. So take, for instance, the company wants me to do this and this. I will just click here, and this is the result. Take, for instance, they want me to do this and that. I will just click here through this technology. You may not need to be calling it slicer if you want to just help yourself. You can just say that, okay, I was able to integrate a system that will make the work easier for the stakeholder, such that they don't even need me to be knowing or to be measuring their what, their business what, KPI. So they can just come here and then click on mail if they want to find out only what, summary of what, this. So it's the communication that makes it look interesting, not sometimes anything that to do with dashboard. The way you present it, the way you communicate it, will make it look interesting, even though the coloring is also playing a major role. Because the coloring is what makes them to be seeing those metrics as you are slicing across the value. Now, every visual has formatting. Don't always forget this. Never use a visual without what? Checking what you have under what? Format. So under format now, I will go to slide setting. You can see what is activated here. We have what? Selection. Under selection, we have what? Single selection. Then we have what? For selection. We have what? Show, select what? All. So if I click here now, you can see that what? It now has what? This. So this one is the one that brings back everything. So you now have a backup that in case you slice with female and you want to go back to when it was analyzed with all. Because if I did not activate it now, how will you go back when you click on male? Because if you come to female, it will analyze what? Female. If you now go to male, you now analyze what? Male. And you want to return it back to what? When it was analyzed what? All. It becomes a problem. So if not that you visited this place now, you would have known that, oh, I can actually what? Control it. It was off. And this kind of scenario now, this is what I was saying. What you are currently analyzing is for only what? Male, right? Now, if as you are doing this, maybe that day, the tutor now asks you immediately, okay, now can you please return everything back to for showing? So what I'm trying to say is that please, every visual you use, take advantage of what you have under what age formatting. So now let's go to the layouts. The layout. This is grid. That's why it's showing this, right? Because the layout you use sometimes will make it look more presentable. So if I come here now and say, well, show what? Row. As we change that up, let's change it to, is this still on grid? This is single column. Okay, yeah, this is single column. It's like we were on row before. Okay, that's why I did not notice any change. Let's click on what? Grid. Yeah, almost the same. Now, style. Let's check table. Now, if I remove this now, let's look for a heading that have more value so that we can understand it. I don't want to use department. You know what? Because this main report is already analyzing what? Department. So I want to use it to get more information because you are supposed to create another visual to get the results you are achieving through the slicer now. So let me use grade because I have more value. Good, you can see it now. So you can see it now. So now I can come here and click here. This is just for what? Senior what? Officers. Now, what about if you are asked that you should analyze both for senior officer and manager at the same time on this visual? That is where you hold down your shift button and click on the second one. Shift button, you select the second one. So right now you are analyzing, you are filtering what? Within how many departments, how many grades? Now, if you want to add another one, you do what again? Hold the shift key and what? Select it. This is what? 3. So you don't need to hold down the shift button if it is just what? 1. Do you understand it? So you can also click here to clear selection. Like I asked that question when I said, what will you do if you don't want to activate what? Default selection or select all. You can come to this place and select what? Clear what? Selection. That will automatically return it to what? To the standard before you started what? Applying the slicer. So maximum row shows, I can say, okay, it should show this is 4 based on the number of values you have there. I believe we still have more, I don't know. Okay, I think that is 4. Because if you bring these states now, for example, now, you don't really need more space. So that's where you now be changing the setting. Then the background, because there might be need for you to format it to blend with what other elements within your dashboard. So you might want to consider maybe a kind of a background color for it. So you can browse borderline. Let's see if you can activate some things here. Dash, color. So let's go to general. I think it's under general, which under effect, we should be able to work to get the background. Okay, so let me allow us to also play around it. Just make sure you are creative with it. Most of these things, when you get home, you get different data. The data structure will make more sense with some of these things. I'm coming to your layout, madam. So let's look at quick measure. Remember when I was teaching us measure, I said we have quick measure. Now has a lot of role to play. Power BI quick measure, quickly. Power BI quick measure. I just want to make sure that I reduce my Thursday work. Power BI quick measure. Power BI quick measure. Quick measures in Power BI are previewed calculations. They are previewed calculations that can be easily added to a report. Let me come again. Quick measures in Power BI are previewed calculations that can be easily added to a report. That can be easily added to a report. Quick measures in Power BI are previewed calculations that can be easily added to a report. Right, key features before we proceed to the application. Key features: 1, previewed calculation, like as we have mentioned. Previewed calculation. Previewed calculation. Just to explain briefly, quick measure provides previewed calculation for common business scenarios. Quick measures provide previewed calculation for common business scenarios. For common business scenarios. The next key feature is easy to use. Easy to use. Just to explain briefly about it also, quick measure can be easily added to a report. Quick measure can be easily added to a report using a simple drag and drop interface. using a simple drag and drop interface. So the last attribute I want to explain is time saving. That is another key feature. All these features are reasons that point to why we should use it. Time saving, right? Quick measure saves time by eliminating the need to write complex DAX formula. That is one of the things it's saving you for. So imagine if you have to write those DAX functions. I know it was this class that we did that now. Thank God. I was praying that it's not saying no, it's not this class. So I said what? Save time by eliminating the need to write complex DAX formulas. Quick measure saves time by eliminating the need to write complex DAX formulas. So instead of you writing complex formula for complex analysis, you can depend on what? Quick measure. So let me just use a different dashboard. So let me look at the application. Step 1. Click on Home tab and select Quick Measure. Make sure you are looking at the screen also. Click on the Home tab and select Quick Measure. So this is it here. So once you click, now see what happened. You can see what? Copilot can help get measure suggestion in what? DAX query view. This one is the AI integration that is trying to we want to help you. Bye-bye. Now, the next step is to select a calculation to create measure. So what we're actually doing is what you will have done if you have to go through the manual what? Creating the measure we did the other time. So we are now leveraging on some previews. That is what we have already created them. I already assume that some of us will need this to perform 1 or 2 calculations. So once you activate it, the next step is for you to select your calculation by clicking here. So these calculations are segmented. Some are under what? Under aggregate per what? Category. Some are under filters. Some are under what? Time intelligence. Some are under what? Totals. Some are under what? Mathematical operator. That is where most of those addition, subtraction are. We have tests. So it is not left for you to look at the scenario and know which one, because these are like presets. So it is you that will factor which one can be plugged in into your situation. Even though it saves you from writing, but at least you need to engage your brain to know which of them can actually answer my question. For example, let's go to the one we can easily factor out. Let's say this addition category. I click here. The moment I click on addition category, pay attention. Now, you will not see 2 fields given to you. One says base value. The other one says what? Value to add. So you need to factor what header should come in here and which header should come in here. And I hope you should be writing your note, not be pressing your laptop. Select your calculation, right? E.g., we selected what? Under mathematical what? Calculation. We picked what? Addition. So your next step is to identify the field to be given to base value and value to add. So that is where the challenge is always is. How do I know which header to put here? How do I know which one to put here? That is the only challenge with the quick measure. But once you can factor that out, it's very simple. Now, for you to do this, you must know the question you are asking. So note, to know base value and value to add, find out the analysis question you are trying to answer. Find out the analysis question you are trying to answer, because that is what we actually guide you to know whether I'm to add this heading there or to add another heading here. So let's just cite one example from this data. Let's say, e.g., this is one of the questions that I want to use to implement this. E.g., from the salary payroll, write the question. E.g., from the salary payroll. E.g., from the salary payroll. E.g., from the salary what? Payroll. Summarize the total basic salary and subtract it. From the salary payroll, add, okay, this was a base value, calculate the sum of two values. Okay, add the total basic salary and the total net salary. That's the question that this one will go with. Yes, no, add the total basic salary and the total what? Net salary. That is, you have to add everything under what? Base salary. The value you get, you add it to what? Total of what? Net salary. So this kind of calculation. You know, this is what we will have written. You know how to write this formula now. We'll write what? Total. We'll now do sum. Call out that heading. Close it. We'll now bring in what? Plus. We'll now make a sum again. Good. That is what we want to achieve easily with this now. So I will bring the basic salary here. I'll drag it and add it here. So the calculation will have been done and stored there. Then I will now bring what? Net salary and also what? Add it here. Then you now click on what? Add to implement it. And mind you, it's going to create your name as what? Addition, as the measure name. Remember when we were learning manual, there was a space where we typed the name of our measure, right? Yeah. Which I said should be according to or to describe what the calculator is calculating. So in this case, now it's going to add what here? What will it add here? Addition. Or it will generate it by itself. So now once I click on add, just watch. So working on it. So it's created, it should be here now. Here is it. Let's check. No, okay. Now you can see that this formula it has given you the formula. So in case you want to even learn some of these dots, use this one, then copy the formula and go and implement it. This is what you will have composed by yourself. So we want to see if we can see we should be able to see it. That is addition, right? I'm thinking it's this one because I'm seeing basic. Yes, it's this one now, right? So you can see the way it's constructed it. Look at it here. Base salary what? Plus what? Net. So instead of writing it, so it knows what to do. So now you will now what? You will now exit because it's already created. You now bring in your what? Your card. So just add your card and then add what? The visual, the measure inside. That is it. So you can go back and say, okay, total for category, multiplication. So most of this, your data structure may not support it, but you should be able to know whether here now, let's say what we want to analyze what minimum per what category. Calculate the minimum of the base value within the what? The category. So here now, you can see that it's waiting for what? The category. So let's add what? Departments here. And then add. So it depends on your data structure. It's not all of them that may work for you. Now look at the formula. Look at what you will have composed. Min S, keep filter. This is a function. You know, we're using sum. Then values. Then the header. Then select what? The department. Then calculate sum. Then pick what? So if you have your own time, But the question you will now ask yourself is, why will I waste my time learning how to construct this manually when I can get it here? Except if there is a price that is tagged to it, that anybody who can write this. So now let's create, where is it here? I think is this all right? They are all labeling there. So peradventure, in case you discover that the label, the description is contradicting, you can actually rename it and what? Recommit it. This is the name is generated. You can say your own because it's contradicting some original header, right? So I can delete this. All I will do is what? To recommit it so that it will be outputted here. Rename this. Yes, we have it exactly. Yes, so let me just add, let's say what? A, just to differentiate it. And then commit again. So it will change automatically. So this is it now. Because sometimes it can be contradicting. Basic total, and there are long words that you may not see the end to know which one you are working with. So let me go back and what? Add my card. And then, where is it? Is it here? That's the answer. Any question? So you will do that. Let us quickly present first. So this is how we teach now. Your assignment is to let's write down the assignment. Create a different dashboard with not less than 3 reports. Well formatted and apply the following. Yes, with not less than 3 reports, well formatted, and apply the following. Slicer for filtering across all the reports. Quick measure to design cards at the top of the dashboard. Quick measure to design cards at the top of the reports. Also add map. So you can actually work more than one because you want to see map. At the top. I say what? Who have written before? Please help us out. Then the last one also implements Powerbi map in one of the dashboards. That means you're going to work with 2 different dashboards because the map, I want the map to have enough space. Or maybe where you are using the map, it should have more cards. You understand? So that there can be enough space and everything to be well arranged. So for those of you that have used yellow color to format any of your dashboard, don't use any color you have used before. Did you understand that? If you have used yellow color, blue color, choose different color for these 2 dashboards you are designing, so that you can also learn how to work with other colors. Oh yeah, come and set up.